Welcome back in. It is season 2 of Where the Game Lives On, the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. We've got renewed.
All right.
We've gotten renewed.
We are no longer a rookie.
I don't know. I don't know. We still might be. I guess it's not a rookie season, but, some guys have that first year that they sit out, kind of like the Aaron Rodgers type deal. You learn under Brett Favre. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to go talk to some podcasters, see what different things they talk about and everything.
For modern day, we're the Jordan Love of the
Jordan Love. That's right, man. They've had some success so far. But didn't they end up losing that game to the Falcons?
They did. Did you see I guess Jordan Love tried to run a quarterback sneak, only he was the only one that had the snap count apparently. And so he kind of goosed the center and then took off, and he was the only one that moved.
Yeah, no, that's the Philly. I mean, that should be the new Philly special with the Eagles lining up on the 4th and 1. You got to have a big dude like Jalen Hurts that can get that 1 yard.
Funny. You should look it up, though. Jordan Love, quarterback sneak. It's funny.
I missed it. I didn't see it. Season 2 of the podcast. We've got some changes coming your way. We've got some planning in the works. We're going to be hopefully lining up some star-studded guests. Once we kind of get that solidified, we'll probably release it to the public so you can listen in and hear from some of the personalities that we hopefully have on the show. We've got some other changes that'll be coming. You'll probably see them throughout the season as we go on. We hope to also maybe get some Hall of Fame staff on, have them as a guest on here. So that might be... It'll be interesting, but
introduce everyone to the rest of the team.
Yes, yeah. You've met Taylor Frederick if you've listened to season 1. He's our director of operations, but we have a full staff of people that do different things here at the Hall of Fame around our events. One thing that we'll talk about with them if we have them on is we actually started a Hall of Fame staff fantasy football league.
Talk about how they're not very good at fantasy football.
We drafted. We've had our first matchups. You and I mean, the projections, the draft analysis means nothing, but we both are projected to finish high.
Well, I mean, because that's a fact. So
we'll see. We both secured a win already. And, fantasy, hey, there's some skill that goes into it. A lot of it's luck. I mean,
it's luck.
Yeah, guys get hurt and everything, but it's good fun. We enjoy coming in on Monday mornings and it kind of being a little talking point.
Funny because I have not played fantasy football in probably 10 years. And so we're sitting there drafting. Of course, we've got it set up on a lightning draft because we're literally matter of fact, I think the first game was that night. So we're like drafting. You get 1 minute between picks and everyone's just fast. And I had to call you when it started because I was freaking out. I couldn't figure out how to select draft and who did so-and-so take. And so
the last time that you played and stuff, did you kind of do it like on a mock board where you guys drafted in person?
It wasn't like that. I did it remotely, but it was not 1 minute between picks. It was a little longer, and so it wasn't as stressful. But
you got to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, we were done in 45 minutes. But funny thing is like I said, I hadn't played in a decade, and I don't pay attention to anyone other than my team. I'm drafting guys. I have no idea who they are.
I'm telling you, my favorite thing for fantasy football is NFL Red Zone. Keep an eye on all your guys. See if they're getting in the end zone. What's going on?
See, I mentioned, I think on the last episode, I watch everything tape delayed, so
that's right.
I can't keep up with Red Zone, or else I'll find out the score.
No, so. I like the 7 hours of commercial-free football. That's my favorite go-to.
I did watch the Red Zone when it first came out, though. It's
cool.
The place to be for fantasy football.
It's cool. One thing that I like, the coolest dynamic, and it was a commissioner, which I'm the commissioner by default. I set it up as we instituted kind of like an unwritten rule. We've got 7 staff members in the league, and then we had 3 of our previous summer interns to help fill it to a 10-team league. And we made the rule that for an intern to come back the following season, they have to make the playoffs because we always have new interns coming in, and maybe they want to get in on it, but you want to solidify. If you want to
stay in the league, you better make the playoffs. Yeah. Otherwise,
and we like those. We like those interns. They're a good group, and I'm sure that they will be right in there talking smack about the fantasy football league.
Already doing that.
Getting back to season 2, though, hopefully, if you watch us, we also might have a little bit of a different setup here in our podcast studio. What about you? What are your expectations, I guess, for season 2?
Well, mentioning the setup, we got a nice looking little helmet setting here right in front of you. For those of you that are paying attention on YouTube, Super Bowl helmet signed by the man himself, Patrick Mahomes, as well as Coach Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. So one of the changes we've got coming up, in addition to the podcast, is some changes around the Hall of Fame, including some quarterly raffles where we're going to raffle off some super cool items, starting with this helmet right here. So we're excited about that.
It's an awesome item. It's in commemoration of the Super Bowl championship. Actually, you can see it if you're watching right there on the helmet itself. This is one of those things where we kind of sat around and talked, and we were like, man, this is an item it's worth a lot. And some people could never get their hands on it. But why not raffle it off and just give it to the lucky winner, right? Give everybody an opportunity to have a chance to own an incredible piece of memorabilia. And you and I hope just as much as anybody that it only continues to increase in value over the years. But there's
very few pieces that are autographed by all three of these individuals. So we hope that this goes live this week, and going to make the drawing, I believe, on December 1st. So that's one big thing. But podcast wise, I'm just excited. I feel like, it's hard to believe that we've already been through a season already, but just when we first started, it was, how are we going to come up with 30 minutes of content? And now it's kind of like, you come in, and I think there's, the back and forth. We kind of figured out that sort of thing, and just coming in and sitting down and talking about the Hall of Fame and sports has been fun. Yeah,
we've enjoyed it, and kind of through our planning here with season 2, for people who are wondering, season 1 was kind of just a test run, a trial a little bit. We kept it nice and short, kind of see, what it is we want to do, what we want to talk about and everything. From here on, our seasons will be a little bit longer, and they'll gradually continue to grow. But the structure in terms of when these episodes come out will stay the same. New episodes every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and as we mentioned, you can listen and watch on YouTube. But we'll continue to be doing a ton of things that we kind of enjoyed a little bit with season 1. One of those is actually going on right now.
Yes.
It is our social media bracket challenge.
The first of many brackets.
Yes, hopefully so. And this one is actually our Missouri Sports Legends bracket. So if you're wondering, this is only people who have been inducted to the Hall of Fame and then named a legend. Yes. So there are several names on here that maybe you don't know, maybe you do. Most of them, they're household names, right? There's other names that you would say, this guy should be on the bracket, but hey, maybe they haven't been inducted yet. They haven't been,
named a legend yet.
Named a legend yet. Yeah.
So it's not that we sat down and thought of 37 random people that we think are legends. These 37 individuals have attained the status of Missouri sports legend with the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. There's plenty of other athletes, the Tony Gonzalez and Brett Hull, and just on and on and on and on. Plenty of Missouri athletes or athletes that have played in Missouri that, yes, I agree, are legends, but they're not Missouri sports legends.
Oh, yeah.
As defined by the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. So that's the difference.
Yeah, and 37 is not just some mystical number. That's the
the
entire
number.
That's the entire current list.
There are 37 bronze busts on the Legends Walkway at the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame.
That is correct, and that is a list that will continue to grow over time as we continue to induct more people who are then later named a legend. But right now, this week, if you're listening to this episode on release, we are in the Sweet 16. The voting for that round has been going on this week. So far, we had a round of 32. We had an opening round. We haven't had a chance to talk about it, but it's been interesting.
Yeah, it's been I won't say chalk, but it's been pretty well chalk in terms of seeding. And so I know it was not easy to sit down and seed it to begin with, but it's pretty well held. And so it's been exciting because there's been some surprises. I think a lot of our social media following, at least currently, is in Southwest Missouri. And so you wondered whether some of those Southwest Missouri names would kind of sneak up on a statewide name. And it's pretty well held true in terms of, for lack of a better term, popularity or legendary status.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think, you've maybe had a few upsets, if you could say, but I don't know if you can even call them upsets because each of these people are a Missouri sports legend in their own right. They all have done different things to progress Missouri sports or make their name known throughout their careers. But we appreciate just people interacting. It's gotten a lot of votes across our Twitter or X, whatever you call it these days.
We've discovered that St. Louis Blues fans are very passionate about the lack of legends, and we understand that. But once again, as of this moment, there are no former Blues that have been named legend. We hope to change that in the future, but
certainly. Well,
they're very, very passionate fan base.
Well said. We will see how that bracket continues to shape up going into the Elite Eight and then onward. Who do you like? Who do you think has
I mean, the one seeds are one seeds for a reason. You
They're
got
strong.
Stan the Man, of course, Payne Stewart here in Southwest Missouri, Ozzie Smith, and
Ozzie's a 2. Ozzie's a 2.
Okay,
yeah. You're right with Stan.
George Brett over Ozzie Smith is a 1. Okay,
but that's tough. That's another one of those. If that was a matchup, that could go either way. I'm on the fence about that one right there. Lou Brock, a 1 seed. It's tough. Ozzie Smith, though, I do like Ozzie. I think, he's just one of those people that resonates really, really well with Missouri people. Yeah. I think, it'll be interesting here, in the final couple rounds.
I don't think we're going to get in the March Madness when you get the 8 seed making the run to the Final Four. I think that would be a massive upset if that happened. I think our 1 and 2 seeds are pretty safe in terms of getting to the Elite 8 at least. So.
Hey, one that I might, though, if one of our latest announced inductees, Kenny Wallace, if he sees us post a matchup with his older, we might see some of his followers.
You get some of Kenny. I mean, Kenny's he's an awesome guy. We had a chance to meet him last week, but yeah, he's got the following. He could get Rusty a long way. So
that might be all it will take. But that's the whole purpose of it, right? Is we want to have power to the people, and we want to have a voice for who they want to push forward, and we've enjoyed watching it so far, and it's only going to continue to get more interesting.
Absolutely exciting. You mentioned Kenny a week ago. Last Wednesday we did not have a podcast. We're taking a break between season 1 and season 2, and also gave us a chance to get up to St. Louis to announce our enshrinement class that's coming up on November 19th. So Kenny Wallace, of course, being a part of that, and had a few other headliners.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to check out that complete list, go look through our social media feeds across any platform. It was released here last week. We announced it, as Byron said, up in St. Louis. A pretty hefty class. I mean, there's a lot of both kind of that local legend people, and then also, some of those bigger names.
Adam Wainwright, of course, which didn't plan this, but the night before the press conference won his 199th game. And so that was kind of cool to go into the press conference with, he could be the 3rd Cardinal ever to win 200 games in a Cardinal uniform. And Barrett Jackman with the St. Louis Blues, one of the top defensemen in their history. And, of course, Kenny Wallace, Bernie Miklasz, for anyone that follows St. Louis media. And, of course, you mentioned all the, the local legends, the coaches and the administrators and whatnot. So it's a very, very robust class representing a lot of different communities, a lot of different high school, collegiate, professional sports. And we're very excited about that.
Absolutely. And help to get people recognized and continue to grow that statewide footprint as a state Hall of Fame. Speaking of Adam Wainwright, I feel like we got to mention him real quick. He has got an entire state, the entire Cardinals nation behind him right now.
Absolutely.
I think we've got 2 weeks or so, maybe some change left in the MLB season. So probably.
Did you see what's planned for the final weekend?
No, I didn't.
So at the Cardinals' final homestand, I think it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have something special planned each night, but on Saturday following the game, there's going to be a concert.
Oh, okay.
Guess who's playing? Adam Wainwright and his band are actually performing at Busch Stadium on Saturday.
I didn't even know he was a musician.
He's the lead singer, and I should have planned accordingly, but the name of the band it's a baseball reference, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Didn't he sing the national anthem somewhere this year? I thought I saw that. Maybe I didn't.
Pretty exciting that he's going to actually perform a concert.
Absolutely, and he's probably got 2 or 3 opportunities left, and I think anybody would be wrong to say.
Well, I mean, he got his 199th against the Orioles, I believe, and they're like winning the AL East. So
I
mean, it's not like baseball is one of those sports where it seems like anybody can beat anybody on any given day. It doesn't happen all the time, but
absolutely. So, we've been kind of talking about some sports news with Wainwright and the chase for 200. In other sports news, this past weekend, college football, exciting weekend. You had several teams, big games. Colorado game, if you want to stay up till 1 a.m.
if you live on the East Coast.
Yeah, no kidding. But one that we were all talking about over the weekend was Mizzou. Obviously, they upset one of the top 25 ranked teams in Kansas State, and it was a last-second 61-yard
kicker with 61 yards. Yeah,
and I saw something where it was last year. He had a chance to ice a game, I think, against Auburn maybe, and didn't make that field goal. So a great little redemption story there.
It was one of those, like my Twitter X or whatever you're calling it now, timeline was just dominated by not just Mizzou, but people at the game and this media member and this person sharing. I mean, just I bet I saw 15 different angles of the final kick, and of course the field storming, and it was.
Do you storm the field over a 15 ranked?
I mean,
it's a big win. It's a big win nonetheless.
I think that's just part of it. I mean, I've only been part of one court storming or field storming my freshman year of college, actually at Austin Peay, when I went to Austin Peay State University way back in the early 90s. When I got there, Austin Peay had a national long 24-game losing streak.
Oh, wow.
And Austin Peay beat Western Kentucky 18-14 in the season opener. And we stormed the field as a freshman. It's the first college football game I'd ever been to. And I actually can remember hanging on the goalpost getting maced by the campus police. So
get out.
That's my field.
We shouldn't have put that on the pod. No, that's an interesting
statute of limitations has passed. But yeah, I got sprayed with pepper spray by the campus police.
Really?
But we stormed the field. But
I had a cousin at that game at Mizzou. He said it was electric. He said it was crazy.
Just to watch. I mean, it was like an orange wave. I mean, you see it. One of the angles is from the opposite sideline of the student section, and of course you see the ball sail through, and of course if you look, I mean, it cleared the uprights by like 2 feet. I mean, it was obviously good, but as soon as it happens, pandemonium, and here comes the gold rush right out of the stands. So I'm sure it was a fun night. As one of Taylor mentioned, one of our co-workers who attended Mizzou, he goes, he bet it was a good night to be at Harpo's. So
shout out to all of the Mizzou grads that get that reference. Man, it makes me I haven't been to a live sporting event, especially a football game, in so long. I just miss going to.
It was, obviously Dennis Gates has the basketball team playing very well at Mizzou, and I remember being at the Kentucky game. Kentucky came in last year too, right before. It was in between Christmas and New Year's, I think like December 28th or something. Kentucky comes in, plays Mizzou. Mizzou runs them off the court. And it was just being in the Mizzou arena that night. It was electric. I mean, you could tell that it was not the old Mizzou from a few years ago. It was just a lot of fun, and just, football to be fun again at Mizzou, and it was an exciting day.
Yeah, it's exciting. That was probably a little bit of a painful night for you, though. You were probably wearing your Kentucky.
I did not have my Kentucky gear on. I was there. I was rooting for Kentucky, but I was impressed 100% by the arena that night. It was absolutely awesome, and Coach Dennis Gates is an incredible human being. He's going to be successful for a very long time at Mizzou. He gets it. And he's just a lot of fun to be around, and you can tell why guys want to come play for him. So
yeah, that's awesome. I have a story similar to that, though. Actually, I can't remember what year it was specifically, but I was pretty young, and Mizzou was having one of those really, really good years in football. And I'm an Oklahoma fan. If you listen to the podcast, you know that Oklahoma traveled into Columbia.
Yes.
I went to that game, and then it starts with Mizzou taking back the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and the whole thing just went after that.
Crazy.
And so I was, I'm decked out in my Sooners, gear, and I got to go. It was, if you're a Mizzou fan, it was like one of the coolest nights ever in the history of their program. But being for the opposing team, I was like, man,
what's the coolest
stinks.
experience you've ever had as a visiting fan?
Oh goodness, I don't know. That that game's probably. Like, would your team have to win? Is that what you're saying?
Just no, not necessarily. I mean, my coolest one, my team lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't say I was a visiting fan per se, but just maybe one of the coolest places I've been to see a sporting event is Fenway. I went to a game at Fenway, and I was like, you go to so many different stadiums, and there's so many modern ones, and there's different amenities and everything. And then you go to Fenway, and it's just like cut and dry, but you've got this whole atmosphere outside of the park too.
Sweet Caroline and during the stretch.
It was just a cool place to see
I remember
a game.
Been to Fenway once, and I was blown away. It looks tiny when you're in there.
Yeah.
How small it looks.
Yeah, it's almost in like one city street block almost.
But even when you walk in of course you see the green monster and just the whole thing. I've been to Busch Stadium and these other places that look big. Mm-hmm. Fenway Park looks tiny when you're in it.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But
I don't know how many people it can seat, but they cram you in there for sure.
It was fun. I went to it's been several years ago, 20 years ago, I guess. Florida State was ranked like 4th. They played a Thursday night game at Louisville, and I was living in Indianapolis, where I'm from. Drove down. A guy I knew from Austin Peay was actually like the assistant band director or graduate assistant or something for the Louisville marching band.
Oh, he had a plug.
And so he got me and another friend of mine into the game for free. Drive down to Louisville. We get into the game. It starts pouring rain on the way down. And it's unbelievable. It did not stop raining until I drove home. And it just consistently poured rain the entire night. It was a Thursday night. We're sitting in the front row, right in front of the Louisville marching band, the front row of the band, right behind the Florida State bench. So I'm literally staring at the guys on the bench. They're standing 10 yards away the whole game. Poured rain. It goes to overtime. The very first play of overtime, Florida State quarterback throws a pick. This is, of course, you get the ball at the 25, throws a pick. Very first play for Louisville, takes it to the house, storm the field. But the entire game, it was just, you had the band playing right behind you. It was just, I'll never forget that. Drove home that night. I basically stripped down to my underwear and rode home in my underwear because I was soaked the whole way. But anyway, memorable game. Team lost.
You got to pull out the poncho there. You got to have the poncho.
I'm just glad I didn't get pulled over on the way home.
What year was that?
It was early. Chris Ricks was the quarterback for Florida State, so that would have been early 2000s. Sometime in that time frame.
Wow. So that's cool. It's interesting in sports how like sometimes some of your coolest experiences can be even when your team loses, you know.
That was a memorable experience. So
question of the day here for the first episode of season 2. An interesting question, one that we just decided, hey, we might get some good discussion out of it. It's pretty simple. What is your favorite sports commentator of all time?
Sports commentator. I guess could I include play-by-play commentator? It's all
sure. Okay. Yeah, color commentator, anything. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. I would definitely say Brent Musburger, and the only reason I say that is because anytime Brent Musburger was doing a game, you knew it was a big game. Didn't matter if it was Florida State or, Oklahoma versus Texas or
Rose
whatever.
Bowl.
But my favorite one of all time is Keith Jackson. And that's going way back, whoa, Nelly, but Keith Jackson was college football when I was growing up. And didn't matter if it was the Rose Bowl, whatever he was calling, but Keith Jackson was the original. Then Musburger came along. He was always good. And I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a guy that always did the Saturday night ESPN game, and he was always good as well.
Okay.
But college basketball, I can't say. I like Dick Vitale. I don't dislike him, but I can't put him as my favorite all time.
Yeah, he's a legacy guy, though. Yeah. He's just got those. You have to have those iconic calls,
Yeah.
It's
oh baby, whatever. But
I'm kind of split on mine. It's tough. There's like you talk about some of the people like that. You're probably reminiscing on some people that you watched for a long time growing up and everything. I almost feel like Gus Johnson is maybe that right now, and has been for probably the last decade. But there's different ones. I don't know if you really count him as much anymore as like a commentator, but Boomer, Chris Berman, especially with like the, home run derby and the back. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just
Burt B. Home Bly-Levin, all the names he did on Sports Center.
Yeah. I would probably throw him up there. Outside of that, though, I don't know. I would probably.
Al Michaels was always good.
Yeah. I some of those, the football, NFL guys, they're just so.
I'll tell you what's going to be crazy is watching the Final Four this year, and Jim Nantz is not doing it.
Oh, really?
He's done it for, it seemed like 30 years. For as long as I can remember, Jim Nantz was on the play-by-play at the Final Four, and last year was his final one. So that'll be interesting to not have him at the Final Four.
Yeah, no doubt. You said Brent Musburger, and I got to disagree on that one. You're right. If he was calling a game, it was a big game, but there's just so many mixed emotions that come with him calling the OU Texas game every year. It was like almost like he was a curse because that's the only, OU game of the year that he calls. But I don't know. There's some guys.
I do like even current day. And I can't remember the guy that Kirk Herbstreit, and then the guy that they do play-by-play on the Saturday night game. They do game day.
Oh yeah.
It's not Myers. It's I can see the guy's face.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
But the two that do the Saturday night game, I like them as well.
Yeah.
I think Herbstreit is pretty solid on the analytics of the game or analysis and the play-by-play. I think that's solid.
One guy that we've mentioned on the pod before, I believe, Tony Romo.
Romo was good.
He's new.
I think he's an acquired taste for people. I think some people don't like him, which I don't know why you wouldn't. I think
just because he's a cowboy,
probably, I guess. But he's really good at just diagnosing what's about to happen and being right the majority of the time. But
yeah, that's what's so interesting to me is like you realize
he can see it.
Yeah, you realize like Tony Romo obviously was a successful quarterback in the league, but wasn't like, oh, this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, no doubt, whatever it may be. But yet he still knew so much about the game, and he still does,
Another iconic name that I don't watch a lot of regular season baseball just because of time and whatnot, but I pay attention to the playoffs is Joe Buck. If you hear Joe Buck on a baseball game, then it's probably a NLCS or a World Series or a big game. And so I always like, you're going to get, once again, some people don't like him, some people do, but I always thought that was a pretty iconic voice to hear.
Guys like that, like Buck or Collinsworth or Michaels, I feel like their worth when you feel like whatever it is they're attached to would be different if somebody else was calling it, because like you said, like an NLCS game or whatever it may
Final
be.
Four with Nance. I mean, it's going to be different.
Yeah, it's just different. And it's like, it's crazy how like you feel like you almost know those people from them calling so many games.
There was a time I can remember when John Madden and Pat Summerall, they were the game of the week. I mean, it seemed like it was Cowboys versus somebody, but it's always Madden and Summerall. And how many Thanksgivings, I'm sitting there stuffed from lunch watching, the turkey bowl between.
It's just right.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes sense. One guy that I was going to mention.
Which I don't know if the young people today realize that John Madden was a coach and a commentator. And they identify him as a video game.
They're like, Madden, the video game? Who is the guy, and I don't watch a lot of NBA, his name's leaving me right now, but he always says the call where he's like, bang, on a deep three.
Yes.
That's an iconic call, though. It's, I don't know about you. I mean, obviously we get to live it out a little bit here on the podcast, but back when I was growing up, I was always like, man, I think that would be a really cool job to be like, a sports commentator of some kind.
When I was growing up, I lived in a neighborhood where there wasn't any kids my age. And so we had a basketball goal on our patio. And so I used to throw the ball on the roof. Of course, I'm, dribbling, last shot. And I'm basically doing the whole play-by-play as I'm, missing the shot and have to redo it. But I thought I was on my way to play-by-play infamy. It was as a kid.
You were calling your own shots out of the driveway.
Own little games I was making up in my head. But
I probably used to do that. I would play some wiffle ball like in the backyard.
I'm hitting home runs with a wiffle ball and
I
can. Yep.
Well, season 2, we're just getting started. We've got a lot of big things in the works. It's going to be, hopefully we continue to just keep growing this thing and we improve, and hopefully you all notice that we improve, but stay tuned. Make sure that you're following us on social media.
Please share it.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that anybody, who just loves talking about sports, especially Missouri sports, we want to give insight to, just some of our opinions, our reactions, and then also sharing some of the cool stories that we have, with the Hall of Fame and getting to induct folks that have made their mark in Missouri sports history. We'll have new episodes, as we mentioned, every Wednesday, as usual. And you can listen to them anywhere that you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And again, feel free to watch and share that on YouTube as well. Do you have anything for the people, Byron?
Nope. Like I said, just share it. Appreciate you guys listening, and look forward to season 2.
Absolutely. Season 2. Can't wait. Be there to join us. We'll see you. New episodes every Wednesday here on the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, where the game lives on.